Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sunday Brunch. I am your host, Artem, and of course, we have with us today Russ Whitfield. Russ, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's summertime here in Long Beach, and I'm literally, my friends are waiting for me at the beach right now. So, we're going to do a short show today. It's going to be an hour. Um, and certainly, it is exciting. It's nice and warm out here. The weather is perfect. I've got my suntan, lotion is already on me. I'm actually in my swimsuit, but you can't see. You don't want to see it. But
I'm
I'm
sure the chat wants to see it.
no, it won't. I'm ready to go. It's exciting. I'm just enjoying the weather, Russ. And of course, we have with us today, Russ, Tom Jr. Jackson, who says, "Welcome to Sunday Brunch Live. Please hit the like and subscribe button." Yes, everybody, please do hit the like and subscribe buttons, everybody. And of course, remember, Russ's storefront to his books on Amazon is right here in this link. Please go ahead and support Russ and pick up the three books he has, his Gladiatrix series. They are amazing, guys. You certainly do want to check that out. Um, we have Gary Bando Sandwich with us this morning. Russ?
Hello, gal.
Hi, Gary. Gary says when two films are out, which I feel are not my cup of tea since Science Fact and Dolls not rushing to watch these. But did you see the cloned Tyrone, which was on streaming and was fun to watch? I haven't watched it. That's that new John Boyega movie, isn't it, Russ?
Yeah, I believe so. I haven't seen it yet either. I've not been doing a lot of watching lately. I've been doing a lot of writing lately, but not a lot of watching. I know I'm not supposed to do that because they're on strike, but I'm not in the union, so. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's. I have not seen it yet. No.
I haven't seen it either, and Gary is giving it a recommendation. Said it was a fun watch. It looks amazing. The way that everybody is dressed in it looks unbelievable. I can't wait to see it. To be honest with you, so Gary, thank you for the recommendation. Certainly looking forward to checking John Boyega out again. He rarely does a poor performance.
Oh, he's a
Um,
brilliant. He's a brilliant little actor, John Boyega. Often think back to his. Well, there's a bit of news for you, right? So um, after the rise of Skywalker come out, he was like, "Yeah, they treated me like shit. They treated my character like shit. It's borderline Russell's and all that kind of stuff." And he was asked recently if he would ever return to Star Wars, and he says, "Well, it was a long time ago. I'm always open to possibilities." So, in other words, yes, they've given me a fuck ton of money, and I will be in the new Ray movie if it ever happens. Oh, it's good to stand by your principles there, John. But to be fair, it's a short career these days, so get your money while you can.
I want to see his character come back and be justified, kind of have a better outcome. Uh,
Yeah, I guess, or but by the same token, it's he sort of made a principled stance about how he was treated and the representation of people and so on and so on, and now he's like, oh yeah, I know, but they're paying me like $3 million. Fuck it, my principles can go do one.
Well, I think your prediction is probably spot on, Russ. I have a feeling he would and probably will come back, and that'd be everybody's big surprise for the next film. He co-starring in it as well, so that's interesting. Wex Wuther is here, Russ.
Hey Wex, how's it going, man?
Wex says, "Let the madness begin." Wow! Oh my goodness, Wex! Wow, this is gonna be cray cray. It's crazy. Mikey Lito is here, Russ.
Hey Mikey,
Mikey Lita says, "Good morning, Art, Russ, Tom, and all of you who call
I have
yourself
a
positive."
question for Mikey Leto. Did
Mhm.
you have to look up how to spell connoisseurs, or do you know how to spell connoisseurs? Because I would have to look it up. I'm a writer, and I don't know how to spell it.
Well, he says, "Good morning to all of you who call yourself positive fans and imagination connoisseurs. A pleasant Sunday is upon us." It is a pleasant Sunday, isn't it? Here in New York, Mikey Lito and I are enjoying the weather. Mikey Lito and I are trying to go ahead and see um, that new movie, Oppenheimer, in a 70 millimeter IMAX. There's only one theater in New York that's showing it in 70 millimeter IMAX. I'm sure there's a ton of other theaters that could
Hmm.
show it, but for some reason, there's only one that is doing it here in New York, and it's sold out for like almost a month, right, Mikey Lito? Um, and of
Sorry,
course,
he says he has a great spell checker.
um, of course, Mikey Lito says, "Bring me the finest muffins and bagels in the land." Certainly, do that and check out Mikey Lito's channel, Mikey Lito Live. Please check that out, guys. Mario Lopez is here.
Hey, Mario.
Mario, hope you are well. Good to see
Mario, are you watching the Women's World Cup? Interested to know. I know probably nobody else in the chat is, but I am.
you. It would be good to find out that, guys. And remember, on Monday, I'll be on the Burnettwork with Lorena for Ladies of the PGS. So please do check that out. And good morning to Irene Jobson.
Oh, hello, Isla. How are you, lovely?
Says, good morning, beautiful Artem and Russ. Thank you so much, Irene. So nice to see you here. Brogu is here, who says, hi, Artem. A day at the beach must be nice. I live vicariously through you. Enjoy yourself. I am good. I can't wait to get out there. Brogu, they've got the cocktails and everything. It's all ready. Mocktails, whatever you want to call it. Retro Nerd Girl is here.
Oh, my resident crush. Hello, Retro.
Retro Nerd Girl says, good morning, Positive Fandom Russ and Tom Jr. Jackson. Well, good morning to you, Retro Nerd Girl. Hope you are well. And I think that Nathan is also here. Good morning, Nathan.
Nathan, hey, man. How's it going?
Nathan says, happy Sunday morning to Art M and Russ. Well, happy Sunday morning to you, Nathan. And we have Lord Toth, my favorite Mountie, is here. Hi, Lord Toth. Says, good morning, everyone. Hi, how are you? I just love Mounties. So good to see you here this morning, Lord Toth. So good to see everybody here. And Mario answers the question, no, May love only goes to my SL Benfica, which I'm assuming is a particular team, right?
It's a football club in Portugal, yeah.
Yeah, he always says damn translator. And Lord Toth, hello, Lord Toth. So happy to see you here. You certainly do make.
Yeah, we can't see his emoji there, unfortunately, Lord Toth. I don't know what you've put up there.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. Oh, it looks like it's a smiley face or half a smiley face.
Okie doke.
Something like that. But it is tiny. I don't know why they make them so tiny you can't see them. But thank you, Lord Toth, for being here. And wow, that's and yes, guys, it is Sunday brunch. Good to see you all. Russ, did you ever think that this strike would be going on for so long?
Yeah, I kind of did. The last one went on for months and months and months. I think it's more telling that the actors are on strike. Over their image rights, and I think that's far, far, far more damaging than having writers on strike, because it's not just what they're making as a production company. Like, if everybody else is working but the writers aren't, well, these guys agents get sent thousands of scripts a week, hundreds of scripts a week. Lots of scripts are floating around there that don't quite make it, that perhaps aren't quite good enough, but could go into production if they needed it, right? Well, with actors, you're stuffed. You can't do anything. But I heard a rumor that the actor strike is going to end on August the 11th.
Wow, what a rumor.
It came out of Netflix. So it's not, as they always say, take this with the appropriate amount of salt and all that, and all that kind of stuff. But apparently, it wasn't. Oh, we know it's going to stop, but they've started to roll out a production on August 16th. So they're saying it should end on or just after August the 11th. But that could be nonsense, because I don't know how they're going to resolve this. To be honest with you, because essentially what we're in your worst sort of scenarios, what are you heading for? Like the head of, I don't know, Warner's or Disney or whatever, sitting in their office, surrounded initially by a bunch of prompt engineers. All right. But when the AI gets good enough, you don't need the prompt engineers anymore. And so the machine is writing all these screenplays. Give me a screenplay about, Tarzan meets John Carter of Mars. I don't know. And it does it because it's based on those properties. And then you've got this thing with AI and the actors. And if that technology improves, and so where are we headed? And it sounds absurd, but equally, here we are chatting on videos that in 1986 in Aliens, this was the thing, which you had to put a card into the machine. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. It's changing so quickly. So whether that happens or that doesn't happen, it's really indicative of sort of modern corporate culture. And not to get political, because I'm not going to get political on here, but you know, you talk about your sort of top 1% of people and everybody else and how disconnected these people are from ordinary people. And really, could you call a Hollywood writer an ordinary person? Well, yes, you can, because when you're at the low end of it, people think, oh great, you got a movie out. Yeah, and you probably got paid about, I don't know, £3,000 or £5,000. Even if you got paid 30 grand for doing it, from from seed to tree, as I well know, trying to get a movie off the ground as a writer is damn nigh impossible. It's taken, I haven't succeeded. Well, I have, but I've never been credited for it. But I've never succeeded at doing it, and it's been 10 years. So let's say we get one of these films in production and I get paid $50,000. That's it's amazing, and it would be amazing. But for all of that work, it's not. So you've got to sort of think there's those people that are getting paid 3 and 4 grand to write a script or whatever it is, and that's the end of it. Not everybody is earning millions of dollars. So you've got the top 1% of actors that don't care. Angelina Jolie can go on strike. I mean, it's, for the rest of her life, it doesn't matter. But for my mate Keeley, who's an actor, like, what's she gonna do? And that's what they're standing up for. But the sort of disassociation between the heads of the studio, who've got more money than gods, especially now that they're all like a conglomerate, that Disney has eaten up all of these things and Warner Brothers is buying all these things up, and there's like basically 2 or 3 or 4 companies that are running everything. The guys at the top don't know. They wouldn't know what struggle is if struggle came up behind them, rammed itself into them, and didn't give them a reach around while screaming "I am struggle" in their ear. They still wouldn't know what it is. And this is the point. So these people are really fighting for their rights. And I'm so not a union person, but I believe in this one because it's just unfair. Like, pay the people what they work. What does Mario say here? Do the actors must obey the strike? Yes, they absolutely must. For a number of reasons. A, for the reasons that they've signed up and they're a member of the union, and the union offers them said protection. Over and above that, it's more like a solidarity thing. So even like some indie they're going for a thing now where indie producers, low budget things can still get made to support writers and actors who are trying to make some money. But a lot of people are coming out against it, saying, no, we're on strike, we can't do it. So it's a union thing, but it's also a moral thing, which is what got tossed around by the directors. But if you look at the DGA agreement, it says you're not allowed to go on strike, even in solidarity. Like, that's what they've signed up to. So everyone said, oh, they rolled over. Well, they kind of did, but they kind of had to. They were sort of legally tied to do that. So no, in answer to your question, it went on. It went on for ages before, and I think it will go on for ages again, unless this August 11th thing is true. But the statement out of I think it was what's his name, Bob, the head of Disney, Bob
Iger.
Iger, that's it. Thank you, not Chapek. I was getting my Bobs mixed up. He was the one that came out and said, "No, we're just going to wait them out. They've got mortgages to pay. They've got families to feed. They'll come to the table once the fucking bank comes knocking." That's reprehensible. That is like literally. That is absolutely reprehensible. Reprehensible to say that. But that's the attitude. Fuck them. They'll come to the table eventually when they're hungry. How about you've really helped us make billions and billions of dollars here? Yes, of course, we'll respect your right to not be replaced by machines, at least for the next 10 years, and then we'll revisit. And give them that at least. Okay, this will stand for 10 years, and then in 10 years we'll have another conversation. Something.
Yeah. No, that sounds reasonable right off the bat, or even 5-year contract. I think sounds reasonable. And Irene says it was a salute. I didn't know that. It's just that its face was cut off, and I guess it's a salute. So there, Lord Toth. A salute right back at you. I really love that. Thank you, Irene, for doing that. Darth Plato is here, and I'm gonna answer. I have something to say too about this whole thing as well. Russ, hi, Darth Plato. Hope you are well this morning.
So
Um,
away, Darth Plato.
and I agree. I have a friend who was going to start something relatively soon, a position, and they were told that they had to wait till August or September before that announcement could come through. And that coincides with what you're saying, Russ, where you heard a rumor about things possibly wrapping up sometime in August. So certainly that is very interesting. We haven't seen any big announcements, not a single announcement, except for some um, movie production companies that have gotten an okay to go ahead with their productions. But for everyone else, not everybody gets an exemption, so to speak.
Well, quite so. Bear in mind as well, August 11th is a Friday. So it'll end on a Friday and kick off again on the following Monday. That's because I know this because there's a heavyweight boxing match on the August the 12th, which I'm really looking forward to actually. But yeah, I mean, like even Amy Johnston, she's on strike. Like we've been working on this short film, which she posted and tagged me the script of on her Instagram. It was such a fanboy moment. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, ah. Not that I'm really on Instagram. There's like videos of Sam and two pictures of me. One when I was in my 30s and one when I was in my 50s. Like looking like an old fuck at the machine. And that's about it. But yeah, like Amy's like, yeah, fuck, we're screwed now, aren't we? Can't do it unless she gets an exemption. I don't know if she is because she's reworking the script at the moment. So.
Hmm. And you make a good point with this. It's really holding up everything. This is not
Yes.
just one or two things, because many of the guilds are supporting one another. Even if let's say you're not a writer, a lot of the other guilds are supporting. So it pretty much has affected everything, and promotion wise, especially, which is kind of a surprise when you think about it in a sense, because two films, one that was promoted like crazy, which is Barbie, and the other one, which I think got like a moderate amount of promotion, which is Oppenheimer, are doing incredibly well. Like just they're doing great at the box office. And here Nathan talks about how a few weeks ago he said Mission Impossible was a movie this summer. And now he's saying that Oppenheimer is the movie of the decade. Wow, Nathan, that is quite a
It's a
statement.
big call. But here's the thing, we're just talking about boxing. With Barbie and Oppenheimer, right? You have like a boxing match. You've basically got shit versus cinema, and who's going to win, right? Because Barbie, from what I have seen and read of it, apparently it was marketed in such a way to make people think it was one thing, and it is not that thing at all. And yeah, it's doing huge numbers this week. But when word gets out about what this film is and what its message is, and I want to touch on that because I was watching Superman the other day, Superman and Lois, which I love. I love that show, and we'll touch on this in a little while. And then you got Oppenheimer, which apparently is like his magnum opus, and it's absolutely fantastic, and everybody's raving about it. That's kind of the one you want to win, right? You want that one to do well, and you want Barbie to be absolutely trampled into the dust. And that's no slight against the people that have performed in the show and worked hard on the show, and everybody, the music and the special effects and the actors and all that sort of thing. But once again, it's the same message but dialed up to 11. I remember watching the drinker or somebody turn around and said, I would rather watch 1,000 hours of Ghostbusters 2016 on repeat than ever see this thing again. Oh no, it was Andre out of Midnight's Edge, because he went to see it and he was like, no, this is everything you've read about it is true but worse. So I don't even know if I'm going to bother. I don't even know if I'm going to bother with it. I don't. Maybe if I could find it on the high seas, perhaps, but I'm not. I just can't morally part with my money to support this stuff, even on the altar of review. It's like it's not good enough. It's not an excuse. I'm not going to support it.
To support which
Barbie.
Well, I'm doing a review of Barbie at 4 o'clock with Cameron. So if you want to, you can check out my review. Certainly, if you're not a fan of Barbie, it's hard to go see a movie that, sometimes you're not a fan of.
Well,
And
it's
of course,
difficult because Mikey always says, consume content, form opinion. But then you've got to think, okay, but everything I've seen, it's like this. You're not into soccer, right? Would you go and pay $50 or whatever it is to go to the cinema in the States now, $30 to buy a ticket to watch a documentary about how the England's women football team started up and how they eventually won the European Cup? You probably wouldn't, because you're not interested in football and you're not English and it means nothing to you, right? In the same way, why would I spend money going to the cinema to watch a film that hates me and hates everything that I believe in and hates everything that I stand? It's kind of like, I don't really want to consume that content, and I've kind of made my mind up already. That makes sense.
sure. I mean, I here Nathan is talking about Oppenheimer, and we're kind of talking about how at first when he saw Mission Impossible, he thought that would be the huge blockbuster, but it's pretty clear that Oppenheimer is the blockbuster movie of the summer. And it is, I don't know whether, I think promotionally to go ahead and smack them together, Barbie and Oppenheimer together, it's just like a little gimmick. But, Barbie is make believe, and, kind of it's make believe. Oppenheimer is a movie that's about, something that's changed the entire world. So I don't know whether, it's fair to compare the two, or even to market them together. I personally would never have done that. And I would have objected to it. Just between everybody here, I don't understand how you can connect the two. They don't have anything in common. And it's just somebody wanting, because they came out on the same day. There's no real connection between the two. So I was at a loss when they started to advertise it like that. People will see it at the same day. I've seen movies on the same day, and nobody's ever tried to connect those two. So
No, it's because there was that meme, wasn't there? There was someone did a fake trailer. Have you not seen this?
I've seen it, yes.
Barbenheimer, and
I
that's kind of how this became viral, didn't
still
it?
don't see the connection between the two films. Like I said, one is a make-believe, item, and something that I have bought tons of stuff from and will continue to buy Barbie dolls and Barbie, products. And I'm still going to get my Barbie camper. But it's, I don't really see the connection between the two. And if I were the studios, I wouldn't have allowed them to do that. I would have fought against it. But, that's how I feel about it.
You remind me of a point that I heard. It could be wishful thinking, or it might not be wishful thinking. But again, rumors, and Cameron will know this more than me because if it's true, he will have heard it, right? But although Barbie's doing gangbusters at the moment this weekend, apparently there's some nervousness in Mattel because they didn't expect this much backlash against it. But you have to look at it in the context of recent consumer action when it comes to how beloved family brands are being weaponized, to promote a given message. Look what they did to Budweiser, right? Bud Light, like they absolutely blocked it. So Mattel, obviously, the point of the movie is to make money for the studio and to sell and to shift more Barbies. But if parents reject this in the way that they rejected Lightyear with its, and the other Pixar thing that came out recently that got absolutely wrecked at the box office because it was not promoting family values, it was promoting, I guess you could call them California values. People turned away from it. People turned away from Budweiser. The rumor is, and maybe ask Cameron if he hasn't heard, to ask.
I'm doing the review with Cameron on Barbie at 4 o'clock on the Burnettwork, Russ. So.
Understood. Ask him because he's got that person working in I think at Disney or whatever. Just say, have you heard anything about this? Because apparently they're not. They're like, oh shit, because I think a lot of the people are now cornering the internet are hoping that it has a massive drop off, but there has been a huge backlash against it. There's no denying that, because I'm getting stuff on my YouTube
No, are there actual articles saying that there's a
There's
huge
lots of
backlash?
well, there's two strands, right? So again, it's this thing. So the Guardian and Screen Rant and the usual shills are sort of like, claiming it's the bravest and bestest movie ever, and it's absolutely right, and it's, the greatest thing, and every little girl should see it. But when you've got, like, the little baby dolls you used to have in the 70s and 80s that looked like a baby, and you're pretending to be the baby mum, and you've got the pram and all of that business. The opening shot of the movie, which you will know, and it's no spoiler as you've seen it, is like a takeoff of 2001, A Space Odyssey, where it's got all these little girls around a monolith of Barbie, smashing the symbols of parenthood and smashing the symbols of the patriarchy, and the patriarchy, the word patriarchy is used over and over and over and over again in this movie in a non sort of ironic or humorous way. And it's about smashing the family values, and men are idiots, and the same story that
Well,
we've
then
got. That
you'll find the review that Cameron and I are going to do very interesting, Russ, this afternoon, guys. If you want to check it out at 4 o'clock, it's going to be streamed on the Burnettwork and here on Positive Fandom. Certainly, it's going to be a very interesting review.
Well,
And
if I'm not comatose, I'll ping you, and maybe I'll pop on if you want me to pop on, if I'm back from Grandad's. So I've got to go to Grandad's after this, unfortunately. But
if you see the film, yes. If you haven't
uh,
seen it, I don't know how that would work, but
I'll just
certainly
come on to slag it off. I'm joking.
just to report it properly from individuals who have actually seen the film. And I'm still, you had mentioned that people are saying certain things about it. And I was just curious if you have an article or something you want to bring it to our attention, go ahead and do that. But as of right now, the film is doing very well. And I suspect it's going to continue to do well. Of course, it's going to have a drop off, but there really isn't anything else for anyone to take their kids to see if they haven't already seen Spider-Man movie. If everybody's already seen Mario. There's nothing else coming out, so it's going to continue to make bank. And I think in regards to the box office receipts, I think they're going to be very happy with the way it performs, even if it does drop off halfway or whatever. It's still going to make money, and there are going to be kids and parents who are going to buy the film, regardless. So they've achieved what they wanted to, which was to make a movie that people will go and see. But there isn't much in the box office now anyway. And the Oppenheimer film is the one that's also incredibly sold out. I mean, I looked at the theaters near me, and Barbie and Oppenheimer are sold out because it's the only two things that are out right now, which is another thing. It's a very interesting position for anybody to be in, is that there's nothing else coming out. And for the midsummer, for the like right in the middle of the summer, I would have expected to see more things that people could go and see, Russ. But Oppenheimer has been selling out. There's in a lot of places, as I said, Michaelito and I want to go ahead and see it in the 70 millimeter IMAX, but we can't because that theater is sold out till mid-August. I mean, it's a 3-hour film. It's just unbelievable. And I've seen that film, so I'm happy with the film. But Nathan talks about this being a magnum opus for Nolan. And Russ, I can't wait for you to see the film so I can talk to you about it. However, there is a lot of truth that earlier on someone mentioned they're not into Barbies, they're not into science necessarily or that topic. There are going to be people who this is not interesting to at all, either of them. And I think that that's going to be kind of a challenge because there's nothing else to see, Russ. I've never thought there would be such a situation like this where that's it. There's nothing.
maybe Sound of Freedom will come back up back up the charts again.
Well, I'm doing a review of Sound of Freedom on Monday night as well. So if you guys want to find out more about Sound of Freedom, which is not a family-friendly film, it's for adults only. And I think Oppenheimer might be 13 and over for that one. But certainly there's nude scenes in it. So, most parents will not want to take their children to see stuff like that. Renz Tolentino is here today. Renz, how are you today? Hope you were well. And Nathan mentions that the actors that attended the London premiere of Oppenheimer walked out when the strike started. Nolan has been supporting them. knowing that the landscape and contracts need to change. And yeah, I think this strike, not being able to promote the film properly, which I think Oppenheimer has not been promoted really. I mean, we've seen the poster with the, with silly Cillian Murphy in the front and these sort of an explosion going on behind him, but it hasn't had what I would consider a full-on promotion like a normal film of this magnitude would have. So it is very strange to see a film which is obviously going to sell out. It's going to make $1 billion. Oppenheimer is going to make $1 billion.
Let's hope so. I'm not a big fan of biopics or anything like that, but I know I watch shit all the time. I love a karate movie. I love a action movie, and that's that to me
Putting
is
yourself down, Russ.
well, it's true, isn't it? I mean, what do you want to watch? Lawrence of Arabia or Accident Man 2? I think I'll watch Accident Man 2. With no disrespect to the genius that is Lawrence of Arabia, I'd still rather watch Scott Adkins, but that's just me. What's my point? My point is we need cinema, and I know that Martin Scorsese's comment about theme parks and all that was taken sort of out of context, but this is not that, Oppenheimer isn't going to be a theme park film. It's going to demand your attention. It's going to demand you sit there and watch it and pay attention. It's art. It's absolutely an artwork. This is like a filmmaker at the top of his game doing his thing with a brilliant cast of actors. All of you just look at the cast; they're all great, aren't they? And Barbie is none of those things apart from the cast, because all those guys, she's a wonderful actress. Is Margot Robbie. It was brilliant. I don't know. We've got a chat show here called Graham Norton, and I know you know him in the States. I think he's quite
he's
famous.
world famous. Everybody knows Graham Norton.
They had Margot Robbie on there, and it was alongside Jim Carrey. And I just caught this clip, and he's saying to her, "Yeah, must have been so tough, like looking like you, with all of those disadvantages that you have. It must have been such a struggle for you. Like everyone's cracking up, laughing, and it's true. Like she's so beautiful it hurts your eyes, and then you've got." Oh my God, his name's just flown out of my mind. The good-looking guy that's it, Ryan Gosling. With her, he's beautiful. You've got Simu Liu, who's made idiotic comments in the past that I'm sure he believes but somehow regrets. They're all talented people, and but however, they're in vitriolic, misandrist garbage.
Well, Mikey Lito says, Russ, does Ian Dark still commentate boxing matches in the UK?
He does not. It used to be Ian Dark and Johnny Nelson, and Johnny Nelson is now a pundit, but not really a commentator anymore. But Ian Dark and Johnny Nelson live on in the screenplay I wrote called The Arena, where you have them commentating on a fight. I reversed their names though. So it's Ian Nelson and Johnny Dark, but there's a homage to Ian Dark. Yeah, he was fucking brilliant, wasn't he, Mikey? Ian Dark, he was like the new Harry Carpenter.
And good morning to Lorena Creole. Good morning, Lorena.
Beautiful Lorena. Hello.
Lorena says, morning, everyone. Hope you all are having a wonderful and blessed Sunday. Well, the same to you, Lorena. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. Last night, Lorena and I did a review for Oppenheimer on her channel. That's the third review that I've done on the movie. I did a review with Darth Plato on Friday. I did one on Midnight Musings, and then of course one with Lorena. I can't stop talking about the film, but I don't necessarily want this whole broadcast to be about Oppenheimer.
Wait, what? Stop. Did you do a Midnight Musings, did you say?
Yes.
When? Last night?
No, it was Friday night.
It didn't even come up. Again, I can't believe this. Guys, check you're still subscribed to this and Robert and everything else, because that always comes up. Like I've said before, like I'm on the show and this one never comes up, but that one should come. My God, sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, no worries. We did talk about, Robert was on Musings. Robert is at the con this weekend, and we also talked about different figures that have come out and the different challenges with some of the figures. I was talking about how they are introducing figures that don't have a head sculpt. And I said, at this point, they should just give us a generic head sculpt, male or female. If you're going to give us a generic female Mandalorian, then it should have a female face, or it could be just a generic face, but we need to have some options where we can remove the head and put on whatever we want. It shouldn't be where it's like permanently fixed. I'm like, this is almost a $300 figure that's supposed to be posable, and you're not giving us options to do anything with it. And I think that at this point that they should have that. And there's a bunch of other things that we talked about as well in regards to these figures. But we started to talk about Oppenheimer, and it turns out that neither Robert nor Lael had seen the film, and I had seen the film. Mm-hmm. And I was just, I couldn't even scratch the surface, Russ, because of what the film is like, because, you know, I'm a scientist, and I think that, you know, I just love the film. The film was based on a Pulitzer Prize winning novel called The American Prometheus, about Oppenheimer's life. And the book is much more scientific based than the movie was. So the movie, what I think was why it even has even more mass appeal, is because they didn't, you know, knock you over the head with the science. It's really just about Oppenheimer's life, and it's a great film. And the performances by Cillian Murphy and Emily Blunt, Amanda Pugh, I hope that's her name, Matt Damon, what's that other guy who just won the Best Screenplay Academy Award for Belfast? He's in it. He's a really good looking guy too. And so many other people.
Robert Downey Jr. in it.
Robert Downey Jr. is in it. I think it's his best performance of his life. I think that performance he did in this is absolutely remarkable. Why can't I remember? Kenneth Branagh. Kenneth Branagh is in the film. He plays Niels Bohr.
What an actor that guy is.
Yeah, and he won, as I said, an Academy Award for Best Screenplay for Belfast. It might not have been last year or the year before, but it was
year before, wasn't it? Yeah.
And it was a remarkable film, a remarkable, you know, honestly, that screenplay was very
just important. Ran out a list of acting royalty, acting worthies. All those people are genius. They're just genius actors, all of them.
Yes, and I really liked Belfast because not everybody. Well, where I live, a lot of people know what was going on in Ireland at the time, but you know, generally speaking, if you don't know people from that area, you know, nobody knows about the Troubles. Like, no one understands or knows anything about it. So I was glad that he wrote that. And you know, Liam Neeson is another one who talks about growing up in Ireland at that time and during the Troubles and what that meant. So you know, it was certainly a profound screenplay, and Kenneth Branagh deserved it. And here he is in this film, and I'm not going to say he steals the show, but he certainly is quite a presence, has a huge impact on Oppenheimer, the character. And I love that Kenneth Branagh was able to kind of, you know, do that there. But Robert Downey Jr.'s chemistry with Cillian Murphy is also remarkable in it. It could be a play, Russ. It could be adapted into a play, and I could see the play touring the globe, or even, you know, on the West End where you are at on Broadway here. I could see a play adapted, you know, from this. And the book is a 26-hour read, or 26-hour audiobook. They only put in a small fraction of what was in it. Of course, Christopher Nolan wrote the screenplay. Russ, I can't say enough about this film, but I'm not going to say any more because I don't want the rest of the conversation to be me talking about Oppenheimer, because I could do that. I could talk about Oppenheimer for the next hour. Not
you
that
know
I
why? What? You know why? You know why? Because you're talking about it being based on a 24-hour, you know, novel. It take 24 hours to get through the book, and the book's really text heavy, and I can just simply sum it up. Why? Because it's a good movie. No one's making excuses for Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer isn't telling you that, you know, well, actually, it was Oppenheimer's Asian and African American, you know, lab assistants that actually built the bomb, and they were female, and he was just terrible toxic. It's not telling you that. It's just telling you his life story. And it's done in a dramatically excellent way, performed by actors all at the top of their game. It's a good film.
It's remarkable.
There's been so few good films lately, and you've got Sound of Freeman with take away all the controversy. Forget the controversy. Good movie.
Lorraine and I had a great conversation about it. Darth Plato and I had a great conversation about it on Friday. And I, you know, obviously, as I said, Robert hadn't seen it, but I can't say enough about this film. And, you know, actually what I'm even more surprised by, and I was talking to Lorraine about this last night, even after we did the almost 2 hour review on it, I was just so impressed that Christopher Nolan did this. Like, how did he do this? It was like, oh my God, how did you do this, Christopher Nolan? And he's so freaking humble. He's getting on the talk shows. I saw him on The View. I see him, and he gets up there. He's just kind of like, oh yeah, my new film. And I'm like, your film is effing amazing. Oh my gosh, how can you be so humble about this?
I have a theory. I have a theory about why this film is so good as well. You know how cross Nolan was with Warner Brothers after they released Tenet day and date, and he walked away from Warner Brothers and said, "No, f you, I'm not doing that. That's betraying cinema and my art, and I'm not doing it." And they had to give him a 7-figure handshake to come back. I would be willing to bet that 7-figure handshake, that as part of his deal, that he has final cut and he has creative control and he will take on studio notes if he believes that they are worthy and valid, and if he does not, he will have the right to reject those notes. I would bet his handshake that that's what he said. There's no studio interference in his movie. He's done it. The only movie he had interference on out of his Batman trilogy was the last one, and guess which is the worst one? The last one, because they had to get involved with it. And I bet he said, "I'll come back, but it's on my terms and my terms only." And I guess they were so desperate to get him back, they'll agree to anything because now Oppenheimer's making bank.
Oppenheimer is a 3-hour film, Russ. And
Hmm.
certainly you walk into the film and you realize this is like you're in for the long haul. Like this is, you better have your snacks and candy or whatever it is you drink, a bottle of water, whatever. You go to the bathroom before you step in the theater. And certainly it's a film that tells you get 2 points of view in the film,
Hmm.
which is also very unique. 2 different points of view. And in addition to the 2 different points of view, there's almost kind of 3 concurrent storylines going on, and it's done flawlessly. There's a climax kind of towards the middle-ish of the film, and then a payoff at the end. I wasn't expecting that from a film that's based on a biography. I wasn't expecting anything like that. And it is true, he took artistic license to tell the story right for the screen. I get that, but I wasn't expecting this level. He's capable, now that I know that Christopher Nolan could do this, not that I doubted him. This is not like, well, I never thought he could do that. It's not that. Now that I know he can do that, I think we're going to see even more extraordinary things from him, like what you said, Russ, because he has control in a way he may not have had before, Russ.
I believe that, because if you look at all these major films these days, you can see that they've all been reshot and recut and remessaged and redone. Look at Aquaman. They're still fucking filming Aquaman again. It was supposed to come out 2 years ago, and again they're doing reshoots to it. Look at the Flash. Look, just what the hell, man. Whereas this one, I'm guessing, and it is a guess, I don't know, but I'm guessing he turned around and said, "Yeah, I'll do it, but my terms and my terms only. Otherwise, forget it." He doesn't need the money, does he?
No, and Tom Jr. Jackson says, check out and subscribe to Lorena Creel's channel. Guys, please do that. Lorena and I do a lot of watch parties together, but she's an expert at the parks. Certainly do check out her channel, guys, if you want to find out what's going on. Mario mentions about actors in Portugal. He wants to know if they're obligated to go on the strike. I think it's only if they're part of the union, right, Russ? Maybe not even.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, it is. You have to be a union member, but I think the other side of that is even if you're not, you're going to be sort of frowned on it in America. I don't know what it's like in Portugal or England or whatever. Things are still getting written and made here. I don't know.
Yes, and here it says Mikey Ludo talks about if Oppenheimer doesn't win, and I guess maybe you're talking about Oscars, Russ.
No. We were talking about who's going to win the box office. Is it
Okay.
shit versus cinema kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm not. Like I said, and I was telling Lorena, I can't put the 2 movies in the same sentence because they're just so different, Russ. It's such different audiences. What I was going to say is, Lorena and I were talking about Oscar wins, and it's going to sweep everything, Russ. It's going to be nominated for everything. I think it's going to sweep everything. I think it's going to win for best actor, actress, supporting actor, actress,
Is it
screenplay, cinematography. I'm sorry.
Is it eligible?
that was another question that people were asking. Is it because of is it IED or DEI guidelines? I have a feeling it's going to be nominated anyway. I think they're going to make an exception for this film. And if not, and they, it doesn't, I don't know what to say, but it should win for all those categories. Russ, the cinematography, the sound editing, the soundtrack, production design, all of this stuff, it should get for everything. And they should be standing up there so much. Nolan should just be standing up on the stage because they're going to pass him all of these awards at the BAFTAs, at the Oscars, everywhere. He should just be like, yeah, I know. Just give him a lawn chair right there on the side so he doesn't have to keep walking back and forth, because he's going to get every single award. It's going to be a sweep, and it's deservedly so, Russ. It's deservedly so.
I believe you. I believe you are. I'm just wondering if it's eligible, and if it isn't, and they make an exception.
Yeah.
Then the whole thing collapses. If only the Academy would come out and go, yeah, look, we had this idea, but it's stupid, so we're not going to do it anymore. And Oppenheimer's really good, and we're going to not, and just don't do it anymore, guys. It's ridiculous.
And the argument is that in the book, it's very specific. I've read half of the book, so I've only listened to about 13 hours of it. But so far in the book, what they talk about is Oppenheimer's life and who he was around. And if he's around a certain, group of people, that's what has to be reflected in the movie. They can't go ahead and randomly decide that they're going to change that. You cannot go ahead and change.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
No, you cannot go ahead and change who is present during the Trinity experiment. There were very specific people who were there, and that was what was reflected in the film accurately.
Oh, my sweet summer child. Did you not hear about fucking Cleopatra? They didn't do it, but they can, and they will, and they absolutely do. He didn't, but they can, and they will, and they absolutely do, and they have done, and will continue to do so. That they didn't in this film raises the question: is it eligible? Because you're quite right. There weren't many women around at that time. Oppenheimer's
there were women around. It's just
Oppenheimer's group of friends was a bunch of blokes. This I know because I recently watched a documentary on him, and he was quite an insular, sort of standoffish figure. But he had his crew around him. But
so this,
by the by, is it representative enough?
You're right, but what I'm saying is that it's a specific demographic depending upon the situation, and it was accurately represented according to what Oppenheimer experienced. So, it reflects that. And, whoever was there, I think it would be ridiculous to represent the Trinity experiment in any other way than what we saw it. And Russ, another thing I want to say is that the sound and visual effects, which were all practical, were remarkable. And we were talking about that last night as well. We haven't even begun to talk about everything about it. Hi, Mighty Orbots. We did talk about Barbie a little bit earlier, and Nathan talks about 120 million for that Oppenheimer. Now, remember, Oppenheimer is a 3-hour film, so it's going to be less showings. And Oppenheimer is sold out on screens. Sold out. Catherine Cook, who is a reviewer and a very good friend from the PGS as well as the Phantasmagorium show, mentioned that in her area, Oppenheimer is sold out for the next 3 or 4 weekends. You can't get a ticket to the show. And she said that's never happened in this theater in her area. We're seeing things that we haven't seen before. It's insane, but it's kind of like a summer blockbuster, right, Russ? This is the summer blockbuster I always wanted, but I didn't know this was the one I wanted. It's about science, and I get it. I get that science is not for everybody. I totally get that. But my whole thing is that this is just an excellent film. And
yes, full stop. It's a good film. And you were talking earlier on about, what are people going to take their kids to see? They've only got this shit Barbie to go and watch. Fine. But also grown-ups like going to the cinema. And it's almost like there's been a mini renaissance over the past couple of weeks of films made by adults for adults that you can go to the cinema and watch with your missus or your girlfriend. And come out and go and get your beers afterwards and go, that was fucking great. You see that bit? What do you think about that, man? Oh no, and I thought it meant that. Oh no, and I thought it got that. You can have an adult conversation about it. How rare is that these days?
One other thing I want to mention about Oppenheimer is that they don't necessarily knock you over the head with science. They don't. there's other issues going on that, for example, professional jealousy was something that I talked about. And we all know that this exists. We know that it happens. We know that, in the workplace, what you have to deal with and different things that affect you. And I think it's really interesting because no one wants to tackle that. No one wants to tackle professional jealousy. No one wants to tackle what it means, when someone's like, they're not going to endorse you, even though your work is exemplary. There's all sorts of different elements to it that I think is very interesting when you think about it. But Darkwing Duck says good morning to us. Hi, Darkwing Duck.
Hey.
Good to see you. Guys, we are almost nearing the end of this hour. Today's a little bit shorter because I have some things to take care of. Keely Chow is here. Hi,
There
Keely.
she is. Hello, lovely.
Roll Tide, Keely, roll tide. And also, thank you, Retro Nerd Girl, for saying something. And this is not, it's not meant in an insulting manner. Retro Nerd Girl says, Nolan did not want to market the two movies together, and I understand why. And that's why I'm so confused. And people have a little laugh about it. But as I said, it's difficult to say both films in the same sentence. One is for make believe, guys, and the other one certainly is not make believe, and is a really serious situation. I mean, it's really serious. Stubble McShave is here.
Hey, Stubbs.
How are you? And guys, I just want to thank all of you for being here today. Hannibal Grimm is also here. Says, hey, yo. Hi, Hannibal Grimm. Welcome to Sunday Brunch. We're about to wrap up the show, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Russ, where can people... Oh, and hello to Stavros.
Hey, Stavros. Do you want to go and try and do a few more before we take off?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to do a few more comments before we take off? There's lots of people been firing them in, and I feel bad if we don't look at them.
I have to end it at the hour.
All right.
Or else I would.
Well, people know where they can find me. Where can they find you?
Oh, guys, you can find me here on Positive Fandom. And you can also find me on the Burnettwork, everybody. I'm going to be doing a review with Cameron Pasha at 4:00 today on Barbie. So please do check it out. It'll be on Positive Fandom as well as on the Burnettwork. So please do check that out today. Also, you can find me on Lorena Creole's channel. Lorena and I just reviewed Oppenheimer last night, as I said. We had a great time talking about that film. It's really an incredible film. And you can also find me sometimes on the 1/6 Scale Man Network, everybody, on Uncivilized Scoundrels. So what I was going to say is, everybody, thank you for being here today. Guys, please do check out Russ's books, Gladiatrix series. They are remarkable. And thank you for everybody who was here today, guys. I so appreciate it. And we will be back next weekend for more Sunday Brunch. Guys, it's the middle of the summer here in New York. I hope you all are well out there. I so do appreciate everybody. Tom Jr. Jackson, my collaborator, moderator, and good friend. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Tom Jr. Jackson's channel. We are all goof people. And with that being said, everybody, always remember, no matter where you are in the galaxy, hey, Joe Jackson.
Oh, Big Joe.
Always remember, no matter where you are in the galaxy, I can't talk, always remember to please be kind, everybody. Take care.